everyone, how's it going? But Christ almighty, I really hope this is not true, but Insider Gaming tends to be right with these types of leak stories. So PS5 Slim requires an internet connection for its detachable disk drive. So if you don't know, Sony announced a brand new slimmer model of the PlayStation 5, as they usually do. After a couple of years, once a console comes out, they tend to announce smaller versions or elite versions of consoles. Elite versions started to become popular after the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, where they launched a more powerful version with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. But back in the day with the PlayStation 2, Wii, Xbox 360, they would have smaller, nicher models that were cheaper. Like the Wii had, I forgot what it was called, but it was an online-only console. The PlayStation 2 had several models, including a slim model. Same thing for the PlayStation 3, where they released slimmer models that weren't backwards compatible at a much more affordable price. So, yeah, and then there was also the Xbox 360 where they launched a new model that was less prone to overheating, and then they launched a slim model with a digital-only disk drive, which I think was stupid. Not digital-only, it was a touchscreen disk drive, which I think is stupid because they're prone to failure more than the manual load-in one, and they're harder to repair. And the Xbox 360 is over 10 years old, so, you know, keep those systems in check at your local fix-it store. At least I have one. But yeah, with this, yeah, it doesn't look good. It's been revealed that the new PS5 Slim, the new PlayStation 5, will require an internet connection in order to connect its detachable disk drive. Why? Why does it need this? It's so stupid. It should just connect. Like, for your PC, you can get detachable disk drives. All you have to do is connect it into the USB slot and it works. You don't need why do you need the internet? Why? It's like what happened with the PlayStation 4. If you don't know what the PlayStation 4, there was this huge oversight before it got fixed where if Sony were to take down the servers for the PlayStation 4 and you were to repair something on the PlayStation 4 because, you know, stuff breaks, it would have to connect to Sony's servers in order to calibrate its clock or reset its clock. It had to do something about the internal clock of the system. So even if you had the physical disc for the PlayStation 4, it would not work. And I believe it was Lance McDonald who found that issue, and Sony immediately fixed it. This is so stupid. Like, this is, like, we're starting to move closer and closer to not owning our own products. Like, there is no reason this should exist. And maybe, like, let's see, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, even companies, to give us a reason for this. Because as far as I can tell, there should be no reason for this. First reported by Call of Duty Twitter account Charlie Intel. So this was Charlie Intel. I'll leave a link to that too, to the primary source. This information was revealed back of the new PS5's box. Internet connection required. The paired disk drive and PlayStation 5 console upon setup. Really? Oh my god, I didn't even know that. That's even scarier. Additional images of the Modern Warfare 3 PS5 Slim bundle. Back says 150 gigabyte minimum. Also says 90 gigabyte download. Oh my god. Download required to play. Bundle is also available November 10th. I really hope they're not pulling the Halo Infinite or Starfield here. Because if you don't know, with Halo Infinite and Starfield, you can't play the games out of the box. You actually have to download the rest of the game through a server, which is stupid. The game should be playable out of the box. If you want to play the 1.0 version of Cyberpunk 2077, you should be allowed to. You can. You can literally just, you know, go offline and play the 1.0 version of the game, no problem. But, oh god, I hate the future. As pointed out by Digital Foundry's John Lindman, the requirement has raised concerns about the longevity of the console and its requirements. Yeah, like I stated about the PlayStation 4, if Lance McDonald, I strongly believe it was him who did it, didn't figure this out, it would have been a disaster, because we all saw what happened with the PlayStation 3, when they were shutting down the PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and PSP stores. It was calamity. Same thing for Nintendo. Nintendo is notorious for shutting down their stores very quickly after the new console generation, like with the 3DS and all that, so people resort to other means to play their systems or play online or get games that were digital only. Like, I can't fathom this from companies. Maybe it's just too much work or they just don't care enough. I think it's a combination of the both, where they don't want you to get these games through other means, pay third parties who don't give you a dime to the original publisher, and require you to spend hundreds of dollars in order to play these games, like Rule of Rose, From Software's Echo Knight, the Spider-Man games like Spider-Man Edge of Time, Shattered Dimensions, the Transformers games, Transformers Fall of Cybertron, and War for Cybertron. These are games you cannot get digitally anymore and need to seek out physical copies of the game. Like if I was looking for Web of Shadows, I was like, oh, I want to play that game now after I played Marvel Spider-Man 2. It's $70. And not only that, you have to get like a working old console. Like I've taken good care of my system, so I have a working PlayStation 3 with backwards compatibility. And same thing, I have a working Xbox 360. I have 3 of them. That's why I told people, go make sure they are up to code. Like go to a store and just, even if you have to pay like $10 or $15 to let them check it out, it saved me a lifetime of just issues because they upgraded my system with a better disk drive and everything, and it works perfectly. So, make sure you look up these stores online. In New York, there's a bunch of them where they actually repair old consoles and upgrade them to make sure they are viable for the future. It costs a bit, but it's worth it in the long run. An internet connection requirement means that the servers will also be needed, which could be disabled at any point in the future. That's true. Again, like I said, what about the PlayStation 4 or what happened with all the other things I talked about? Inside Gamer first reported on the PlayStation 5 with a detachable disk drive last year. To our understanding, the internet requirement is fairly a new change, and testing the internet connection was now required. The new PlayStation 5 is set to launch November. It will completely replace the old model should you choose just to want the new console and not to bundle it. It will cost $500, and with the disc drive, $450 without it. This is just how more companies are trying to get over like right for repair and force you to upgrade to the next edition of the hardware they're selling. Like for example with WWE, Mutahar did a video on it. WWE, I believe 2K20, I'm not sure. It's one of the WWE games where they shut down the servers and basically told you, hey, just buy our new version of WWE, which is complete BS. Like even older games have servers that continue to this day. Like I can't think of anything, but games that are 10 years old that still released on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, I'm sure if they have an online function, you can play them to this day unless they have dedicated servers. But regardless, this is some BS right here. And it just, it gives me memories of this when Xbox One had an always-on DRM and used games policy. Basically, the console had to be online all the time, and you couldn't exchange games. In fact, Sony gave them a big middle finger to them by saying, this is how you exchange games on PlayStation 4, and they just show you handing the game to another person. And Dan Matrick, who was the CEO of Microsoft, not CEO of Microsoft, he was the lead of Microsoft's Xbox division. I'm just stumbling over my words because this is really, really crazy stuff, was stating like, hey, if you don't want to upgrade the Xbox One, we have a console that's can be played offline. It's called Xbox 360, and he got roasted for that. Phil Spencer came in and then put games first, and now Xbox has been essentially saved because of his leadership, putting video games first. But it just seems like Sony is going down the other path, the dark path, because more and more companies want to take away your ownership of these games. Because like I said, when the eShop shut down, you no longer have access to those games. So if you wanted to play, I don't know, Pokemon Red or Pokemon Yellow on your 3DS, unless you had those games already installed, you're out of luck. And you would have to rebuy them on, guess what? The Nintendo Switch. There's a spider right there. I think Spider-Man is about to give me powers, but I'll show it right here. There it is. But yeah, and it's just going down this very dark path about it's distracting me, but it's going down this dark path where you're owning less and less of the games that you purchase digitally, or even your hardware at this point, because this is a very scary situation where you have to wonder, will I even own the console that I purchased? Will it last 10, 20 years? Because physical hardware fails, but you can still get it repaired if you can find the right parts for these options. Either way, I really hope that they're not doing this, but it does follow Sony's track record, like with the previous CEO of PlayStation, where he was like, who would ever want to play older games? And it was complete BS, because lots of people play older games. We play older games all the time. Like, I have my physical edition of Infamous and I want to replay it, and I was like, oh, does Sony have this on the PlayStation 4? No, you have to stream the game for some stupid ass reason. Why can't I just buy the game? I will give you $20 to play Infamous 1 or the Silent Hill collection. Like, getting that working was such a nightmare. It just boils my blood at this point. I'm a strong advocate for game preservation, And this just seems like it's going off the very dark route of not even being able to own your games. And you're going to have those idiots, those constant idiots in the comment section. It was like, oh, digital purchases are so convenient, and oh yeah, well, this is much better because of this and this. Look, gaming has become better in a lot of ways, but it's also taken away your ownership of your games. Like Best Buy is starting to not sell physical media anymore, at least movies. And how long till video games start to follow suit? It's going to be such a hassle to get physical games, and I recently went back to buying physical games because of what happened with Assassin's Creed Mirage, where they make me buy it twice because of a digital error within Microsoft Store, and I'm not dealing with that crap anymore. Like, I want to own my games. I want to have physical copies because I don't want them to take that away from me and just remove my ownership, because there is another, I know I'm going to a bit of a tangent, but I want to solder this information into your head, because this is the number one thing. Imagine you have a 10-year-old Xbox Live account. You've bought dozens of games on it, or PlayStation or Nintendo, and you get falsely banned, because that happens. Sometimes you get falsely banned. Sometimes you get falsely demonetized, or you get falsely like something. Sometimes it happens. Look at World of Warcraft. People get banned by bots accounts because basically they mass report people and cause their accounts to go dark because of mass reporting, because Activision Blizzard uses automatic reporting software instead of actually human beings looking at this stuff. It happens. And if that happens, you lose access to everything. Like all those digital games you bought, gone. You can't access them anymore. And it's within their right to do that. If you look to the terms of service, I know it's a South Park thing where they're like, who reads the terms of service? And you see Butters reading it as, Kyle is like, who reads this? I just accept it. And everyone's like, I read the whole thing. Stan reads it, and everyone. Read that thing, like at least the bullet points of it, and you'll see that it's there. Like, it is a scary thought that once it's gone, it's gone. Like, if you have a physical edition of like, here's a physical edition of Marvel Spider-Man 2. If I get banned on Sony's account, I can still play this. I can still put this in my PlayStation 5 and play the game. As far as I'm concerned, the 1.0 is on this disc. I don't know entirely because Halo Infinite pulled a gotcha moment with that in Starfield, but I believe that the 1.0 is on this game. This game's disc. But, yeah, this is why I'm afraid of this. Because you should be concerned as well. If you own a game, you should own it. You should be able to access it. You should be able to play it. But yeah, I went on a lot of a tangent there because this is something I'm really passionate about. Something I believe in. I believe in ownership. And if you start to look at YouTube channels like Louis Rossmann about how much companies are trying to take away your ability to own and fix your own stuff, like I'm starting to learn to fix my own things and try and ensure that I can keep the stuff I own working. Because as I stated earlier, the Xbox 360 is over 10 years old. It's prone to failure, and unless you get it checked up or you know what you're doing, which companies are also very inclined to withhold that information within their right. I can understand they don't want the architecture of their new product to be leaked out there, which is fine. I understand. But if something is over 20 years old, they're not using it anymore, they're not selling it anymore, just give it to the public and let them do whatever they want with it. Because at this point, yeah, I don't know, like this is just very scary to me, and I think a lot of other people should be scared as well. So that's the video. Tell me what you think in the comments below, if I'm just ranting mad or if I don't know what I'm talking about, because I think I do. I've 15 years of game journalism experience. I would like to think I have at least a junior high school level of education when it comes to this stuff, but I love to learn, love to see different perspectives from different people, or maybe I taught someone a new thing. We'll see. Anyway, like, dislike, whatever you feel like. That's me signing out.